All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. And first off, we've got a special recognition. Is Amanda Munyon in here? Amanda Munyon, please, before you leave today, wish Amanda a happy birthday. Today is her birthday. All right, now these guys have got a homecoming they've got to get to, so we're going to call on Coach Todd Kirk and the Lawrence Academy Crusaders.
Thank you so much, folks. We do have homecoming, and there's more moving parts up there today than you can shake a stick at, like everybody else's homecoming. But thank you so much to the Touchdown Club. They're introducing the homecoming court today at the pep rally. These guys said, we got to make sure we get back to see the court. And I said, well, the scenery here is not going to be too bad either. So I say to Allie, thank you for coming to us this week. Or this year, and speaking, as they all said, we are so proud of you, and you have done this place well. We are so proud of you. Glad to have you back anytime here. Thank you so much for coming. I apologize we're having to leave, but we've got to get back for some festivities. We got a win last week, but it wasn't basketball. It was a football game, all right? We won 64-63 against Newberry. And of all the big plays that really happened, it was a defensive play with 11 seconds left that really made difference in the game. Kenny Langston, I'll have him stand in a moment, but we had a team 4 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes. But again, this is 8-man football. That's, if you watch arena football on TV, you're getting about what you see there. A lot of scoring. It was an exciting game, and just to be very honest, it was really the best game we played in 3 years. Really had. We've been at the bottom of the league, folks, for 3 years. That's where we've been, and that's no fun. All right. And after really having some success, it made it more or less fun. But as we all say, as we all do as coaches, you keep going. You keep going, you keep playing, you keep cheering, and you keep pulling, and keep working. And had a great victory. And even going into the ball game last week, I said, guys, there will be times where we will be down 2 touchdowns. We will be down 2 touchdowns. I said, but don't look at the scoreboard. You got to keep playing. You got to keep playing. I said, and there will be times we'll be up by 2 touchdowns, and then that'll leave us again. And that's exactly what happened. In the first quarter, we were down 2 touchdowns, and I lost a right guard, a starting guard. I didn't have a backup for, and that's really sort of why Kenny's here. He's never played that, and he played it all night from the first play. You've never seen coaching. You know what? They don't pay me enough. I coached my hind end off Friday night. If you would have seen me coaching Friday night, you'd say, give the guy a bonus and talk to the headmaster, whatever. But anyway, I coached my guts out, lost my voice and all that kind of stuff. Kenny stepped in, did a great job playing at guard. And just an exciting night. Hey, anytime you win, whether it's by 50 or by 1, all wins are good. All wins are good. Don't ever forget that. Anyway, I brought 6 of them here tonight, and I can really say out of the 6, I could have brought them any week, really. We have worked for 6 weeks, and I guess 3 before that, about 8 to 10 weeks. We've been working just like these guys have, and we've been getting better, but we just hadn't won games, and we finally won. And it was, again, very exciting, difficult. 11-15, the game was over. Started at 7:30, 11-15, the ball game was over. When you score that many times and walk the length of the field, it takes a long time. Anyway, let me introduce some guys, and I'm going to try to remember some stats here. Let me introduce Cal Robertson. Stand, Cal. All right, Cal plays defensive back for me, plays some receiver. He's going to play receiver tonight because we got a receiver down. He's going to play more than he wants to, probably. Cal's a quiet kid. He's got excellent feet, and he can cover anybody. And I mean that. I mean that. He does a great job for us. You never know anything about Cal unless you have to look for him, all right? What he does very well is he does his job. I'm so proud of him, and he has a long, good career at Lawrence Academy. Sit down there, Cal. Thank you. DeMonte, stand up. DeMonte Grant won't be playing tonight. He's got a concussion, all right? Had a big hit on the goal line, and that's where it came from, all right? They finished the ball game, but that's where it came from. Had 2 interceptions. Like all coaches, you try to game plan somebody. They had a big receiver, probably 6'5". I believe I looked up at him. Looked up at him. Caught the ball over his head very well. I said, you got to stay with him. You got to bat the ball down well. He batted 6 balls down and intercepted 2. The guy still caught 2 touchdowns. A heck of a football player. Really a difference in the ball. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Got a long career ahead of him. Thomas Lowry. I've talked about Thomas a lot. Thomas threw for 450 yards, ran a 50-yarder, caught somebody in the end zone, and didn't get him, but we handled the phone situation, didn't we? I'm kidding. But he has gotten better every single week. Gotten better every week. I tell you what he really does. He extends plays well, and he knows who to throw it to. We got to get him throwing the ball a little bit quicker, but he has led us very well to be a ninth grader. Not many, at any level, not many ninth graders will lead the football team. He's done a great job. Thank you, Thomas. I called that quarterback draw, by the way. We just put that in on, we brought him up in the dirt over there. So we had a quarterback draw, but he went 50 yards right up the bloody middle for us. So anyway, he did a great job. Kenny Langston, Kenny's been here before. Kenny went to guard, had 26 tackles. I said, I didn't know they had that many offensive plays, but had 26 tackles Friday night. He is a very tough kid. He's a quiet kid, and he's got a long, good career ahead of him also here. He's the one, again, moved to guard. He had never played it. Sometimes I said, I don't know who's coaching that guy, but we got through. They had a 300-pound kid in front of him. Kenny's not afraid, and that's really about half the battle in football, so I appreciate him. Charlton finally quit spending as much time in the principal's office and more time in the classroom, right? Charlton, yes, sir, buddy. Yes, sir, buddy. Finally got him here. He is really a good football player. He is a tough kid. He can really play any side of the ball. He could play quarterback if I ask him. He's really athletic. He excels in basketball, and he's got a long career. All these kids, these two are 10th graders. Has a really good career. He sets the edge for us very well. We sprint out a lot. He sets the edge, and I bring him about every play from the linebacker position, and he makes a lot of plays from in the backfield, tackles for loss. He does a great job. It would not be as good a football team without Charlton McCall. Have a seat, Charlton. Thank you. Relis Littleton. Relis is a 9th grader this year. Asked him to move to center Friday night. He was really the hero of the ball game, but you'll never know that from anybody else. All right, we had struggled all season getting the ball to the quarterback. Maybe 1 out of 4 snaps we were not getting to the quarterback. We moved him 2 weeks ago to center. We did not have one bad snap, and really, to me, that was the difference in the ball game. When your quarterback can get the ball every play, and I've even seen lately in the NFL on the NCAA level, they have a hard time at times getting a shotgun and make a snap. Every single snap was on their plate, went across the ball and played defensive end. I think you had 11 or 12, or did you write 11 or 12? 14, okay, my bad. I was telling Billy moments ago, I brought a crowd in here. Have a seat, Reels, thank you. I brought a crowd in here last week, and when I got them in the van to come over here, I put a piece of paper in the back. I said, guys, I don't have your stats today. Write them down. And they came back up to me, and I got up here to share them, and I opened them up, and I said, whose stats are these? I said, guys, we lost 24-6, and you're telling me you did this? Of course, don't ever let kids that give their own stats to you. They don't highly exaggerate. Anyway, got homecoming tonight. If you're bored, come up to Lawrence Academy. We'll have a ball game up there. All right, we've got, hang on a minute, J.D. Jefferson Davis Academy. They're 4-3. Again, everything we do at Lawrence Academy, it's hard. Everything we do is hard. Last week, at 11-14, Kenny made a stop to save the game. Save the game. If you'll come to Lawrence Academy tonight, you'll see nothing but just a hard ball game. Everything's hard. But when you're trying to build, if it's not that way, you're doing it wrong. That's the way it is right now. But we're getting better. If I can just keep them together and keep them from falling in love, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Well, hey, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough. Anyway, thank you all. And I hate to be rude, but we've got to get out of here. They got to see the homecoming court, right? They might be escorting some girls out. Thank you so much here. I didn't mean to go so long. Thank you.
All right, good luck to the Crusaders tonight. Now we're going to call on Coach Tommy Spangler with the PC Blue Devils.
Hey, isn't it awesome, right? I tell our team all the time, Fridays are awesome. You know, that's really as a college football. Of course, you know, you got high school football, and that's what makes it even more neat. But Fridays is a time where, as a college team, we're kind of putting everything together and finishing up our final touches and so forth. And, you know, when you look back years from now, and I think sometimes our guys don't quite understand this, is when you look back years from now, it's these times that the memories truly are special. The friendships, the bonds, the relationships, more of the journey than really the destination. So I really like Fridays. I appreciate Billy having me here today. And I brought a special guest. Come on up, Mark. This is Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson is a true freshman from Albany, Georgia. He played at Lee County High School. He's a true freshman. We've got another running back, and if you've seen us play, we're better on offense. We're better on offense. We've got a young man named Torrance Merriman, number 4, true freshman. I'd like to say that Mark is thunder and Torrance is lightning. And they've been special. They decided to make a commitment to come to PC to build our program. All right, to build our program and to get us where we want to get to. And through 5 games, Torrance, let me say this first about Torrance. I went to Torrance yesterday and I said, Torrance, you think you might go to Touchdown Club with me at noon tomorrow? He said, Coach, I got a class, but I think I can talk. That teacher's cool, you know, they're cool. Teacher's cool, I don't think we're going to do much, so I think I can come. I said, well, don't get yourself jammed up, but if you can, great. If you can't. So he actually texted me just a little bit ago and said, Coach, talk to the professor, and we actually got an important topic to talk about today, so I think I need to go to class. So how about that? That's awesome. Teacher said, you do what you need to do, but he said, Coach, I probably need to go to class. But Torrance is leading the league in rushing. He's leading the league in all-purpose. All right. Mark is 3rd in rushing. Mark is 2nd in the league in scoring. And they're 2 true freshmen. And if you would come watch us play, these 2 guys are special. They're special backs. All right. They're special backs at any level, but really at PC, they can go. They can go. Played Cumberland 2 weeks ago, and if anybody was there, you saw Cumberland had a heck of a team, and we had to grind it, battle, and come from behind, and we won the game. And it was an awesome win for PC. I think this past weekend kind of measures a little bit where we are, okay? And as people in this community and people that have followed PC, it's easy to kind of say, well, can PC do it at this level? Can PC play Division I football? Now, I ain't been the head coach but a few months, okay? So my thoughts with that is I'm forgetting about what's happened and worrying about what's going to happen. And that's why you see we got 2 true freshmen that are going to build this thing with us. And I did my radio show, or excuse me, my TV show the other night, and it seemed like every comment I was making about a young man was, well, he's a freshman, he's a freshman, he's a freshman, he's a sophomore, So we're building this thing the right way. But you know what? Saturday against Wofford, and we didn't start very good. We let them have a long touchdown run on the first freaking play of the game. But we settled in. Number 7 ranked Wofford. They're number 5 right now. All right? I think Georgia's number 5 in FBS. So it's all relative. Same amount of teams. We may even have a few more teams in FCS than they do in FBS. Wofford is the number 5 team in the country. And that score was 14-7. Now, I'm ticked off we lost. And I'm disappointed we lost. But that score was 14-7 late in the 3rd with us driving. We convert a 4th down, and we get a lineman downfield. Well, that's football. You got to live with penalties. And then it kind of got away from us a little bit. If you were there, we had a great goal line stand. They make it 17-7, but we were in it. And I like the vibe of this team, and I like the vibe of our program, and if we can hang with them, we're going to build this thing the right way. And I don't think there's any doubt we ought to be a Division I football program. No doubt. Now, we got a team this week. St. Francis. You're probably going, who is St. Francis? St. Francis out of Pennsylvania. Loretta, I think's the town. Don't know much about them. They don't know much about us. They're wondering who they're coming to. They're an FCS team. Okay? I'm about done here. St. Francis last week played Liberty on the road. A few weeks ago, Liberty beat Baylor. Baylor took Oklahoma to the wire the next week. St. Francis goes into Baylor and whips them. That's the kind of team we're playing. 3-1 on the season. All right? Very good football team. Probably got the best defense in FCS right now. So this guy right here, but you know what? He won't flinch. Come to the game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. He will not flinch. He don't know any better. He don't know but one speed, and that's to run hard, all right, and play the game how it's meant to be played. But we got a tough challenge tomorrow. Wake Forest, we played. Florida State had to score on the last play to beat them last week. Citadel, Wofford, St. Francis. So, I mean, we don't mind playing the tough ones, and we're expecting to win tomorrow. So please come out tomorrow and watch us, and then we're looking forward to it. Thank y'all for having me.
Coach Chris Weiner and the Lawrence Raiders.
I'm usually long-winded too, but I'm not going to be today. And I know we need some time, but I enjoy listening to Coach Spangler, and of course Coach Kirk is he's a really tough act to follow. But if you follow this, really all year, but the last 2 weeks, we're struggling right now. We played some really good teams, just like Coach Spangler said, with Wofford and Citadel and Wake Forest and those guys. Kind of our version of that. We played Dorman and Bowling Springs, and this past week we played Hillcrest. And we've basically just come off on the wrong end of the stick. We're not playing very well right now. I told Coach Webb when he walked in, though, it's the coolest thing for me as the head coach of Lawrence is you would never know it. If you came and watched us in practice any day this week, you would think we were 6-0. And our kids' attitude and our coaches' attitude, just the positive nature of which we go about our business, has been incredible. And that's a tribute to these guys and all the guys on our team. They're working hard every day, and we're getting better. We haven't found a way to transfer. The oldest coaching cliche in the world is you play like you practice, and I would love to know that was true with the Lawrence Raiders. Right now, it's not. And the way we go about our business at practice, and the reps we get, and the quality reps we get, and the coaching that our kids are getting is awesome. But we haven't been able to walk up the hill underneath the scoreboard out onto that field and transfer that. And we fully expect that to happen tonight. We play Wade Hampton tonight. It's also our homecoming, so we're excited about that. So again, if you don't go watch Lawrence Academy or Clinton, please come watch us. We'd love to have you. We're excited. I think this team, just like anything else, and I tell our guys all the time, champions are born when it's during the toughest of times. Everybody loves you when you win, and everybody loves you when you're doing great things. It's you become a man, a real man, and you learn the things that real men have to know in order to be successful in life during times like this. And that's what we keep driving home to our guys, and there's no doubt in my mind they're buying into it. We just got to keep plugging, and good things are going to happen. So, and we expect that to start tonight. We really do. I brought 3 guys with us. I didn't bring as many as everybody else. Obviously, when you've been on the opposite end of some of the scores we've been on, there's hasn't been a whole lot of good things, to talk about, but we have made some major improvements in our special teams, and 2 of the guys I brought with us tonight are a huge part of that. They also do some other things for us as well, but this is Cade Thompson. Cade, stand up. Cade is a 10th grader. He is our starting punter, and he's also going to be, probably in my opinion, he'll be one of our starting backers starting next year moving forward. He's not just a punter. He's an excellent football player, very, very talented. His dad kicked for Lawrence many years ago, and so obviously he inherited a really good leg, but Cade punted 10 times last week and averaged 40.9 yards a kick, which is pretty impressive for a high school kid, especially one that that's not his primary position. So we expect great things from him. He's one of 7 10th graders that's starting for us right now. So we're excited about that. Brought Will Tinsley with us. Will Tinsley's a junior wide receiver for us. Again, if you've watched the last few weeks, Will's our punt returner. He's also he'll be our starting flanker tonight. He's a very, very, very talented kid. He's got great hands, and he is competitive. He is not afraid of contact, which is becoming a rare deal in today's game. Will gets after it, and we're excited about him. I think he's going to really start having some breakout stuff over the next year and a half. Brought Dejon Mosley with us. Dejon is a senior linebacker for us. He's also one of our return guys on the kickoff team. Dejon had over 200 yards of return yards against Dorman 2 weeks ago. Ran one back for a touchdown and almost ran another one back for a touchdown. He had about 160 yards and 2 returns and made some incredibly athletic moves to get to the end zone, especially on the first one. Dejon's a great kid. All these guys are that really busts his butt and works hard, and you'll see him a good bit tonight if you're at the game. We thank y'all for everything you do, and we're excited about tonight, and we hope you come see us.
All right, we'd like to call on Mr. Buddy Bridges. He's the voice of the Clinton Red Devils. He has a special presentation.
We want to thank the Touchdown Club. As you all know, this medium that it provides is invaluable to the community, and it allows us to come together as a college and 3 high schools. And this platform is going to be used today thanks to Billy Dunlap, and I represent today Maureen Tiller, Dr. David O'Shields, Dr. David Pitts, Cindy Jacobs. I represent Nikki Templeton, Athletic Director, our players, and our staff, because an honor has been bestowed upon our coach. And Ms. Tiller has asked me to come today and announce this, because tonight we go to Prosperity to play a football game. As always, hundreds of Red Devils will travel down to Prosperity. Hundreds and hundreds more will listen to the radio broadcast. And we're going down there to win a football game. But an honor that you receive like this is more for what you do for your team and your community off the field than what you do on the field. With great pride, I want to announce today that someone very significant has recognized our head football coach. The Carolina Panthers give a high school coach of the week each and every week. And Coach Andrew Webb is going to be featured in the game time for the Panthers next Thursday against the Eagles. Coach Webb is going to be recognized on December the 17th during the Panthers game versus the Green Bay Packers, and he's going to be featured all year long in the game program. At CHS on the field, Coach Webb has a passion for Clinton. Everybody in this room, whether you're a Raider or a Crusader or a Blue Hose, the pride of Clinton is Clinton High School football. And this young man gets it honestly. A ball boy growing up, a player, a quarterback, 2 sports star on both sides of the ball, assistant coach, now the head football coach of Clinton High School. But over the last 3 years, Coach Webb has used his platform, his position, to make a positive impact on the community of Clinton. A coach has the ability to reach and impact kids in a mighty way, more so sometimes than most educators. Coach Webb has used his platform to make a difference in the lives of others in our community. 3 years ago, the cancer awareness, his idea raised $3,500 for the Lawrence Cancer Association in a game that featured a blackout against breast cancer, against cancer in general. Last year, Military Appreciation, where we wore throwback, honored the men who truly made the sacrifice for our country. Local churches, he takes the boys around during camp, not only just feed them, but to hear pastors, just like it's in this room today, like Reverend Dean, people who fill the shoes that he provided in Clinton to speak. He brings guys in to talk to his players. And this year, family, where our Red Devils honored their mothers, their grandmothers, their sisters, the significant women in our lives. Coach Webb is being honored by the Carolina Panthers, and I'm proud to ask him to come up because he is teaching our student athletes that life is truly about others, that he wants his players who play so hard for our community, do not let their lives, the significance of it, be determined by what they do on a football field, but live it in a way that you can impact others. On behalf of Ms. Tiller and all of Clinton High School today, Carolina Panthers honored a Coach of the Week over the Carolinas, Coach Andrew Webb.
No surprise over that, man. Could have gave me a heads up. Thank you. That's an honor. I appreciate that very much. These, we know what we sign up for as a head coach. We know we're going to be judged on wins and losses, but these guys, these are the reason that we do. And the past 2 weeks we won a game, lost a game, but I brought a whole slew of them, and it's because of these guys that we keep getting better. It's because of these guys that have bought into the things that we do and makes what we do so enjoyable. And we also go out to practice every day, just like Coach Liner said. You never know our record. You come out there and watch, They get after it. They do what they're asked to do every day. And, these guys, I brought 8 of them. They're 7 seniors. And I'll just kind of recognize them real quick. Then we got one shot. Vontae Bluford, y'all just stand up real fast. Vontae Bluford is a safety for us. As hard a worker as we got, never says a word. He played really consistent this past week versus Chapman. We put a lot on his plate. He did a really good job. Tequan Cromer, Tequan could come up here about every week. Played really well this past week. He ran a kickoff back for a touchdown, and that wasn't just by coincidence. It's something we practiced. He did exactly what he was supposed to. Got some good blocks, made a really, really big football play in that game for us. Dawson Green, we pretty much lined up in 2 tight ends the entire time this past week. Just ran the football. Dawson, I think, ended up like 44 pluses, 1 minus. And the first time somebody kind of questioned that, I knew that person hadn't watched all the film they were supposed to watch when they questioned it. Because I knew where his 1 minus was. I knew it. I knew it. He played outstanding. He's a good senior leader for us. He goes out and represents us as a captain every game. Vilo Boyd, senior safety, plays special teams, plays offense 2 weeks ago versus Chesney. He had 7 or 8 tackles. Had a calls fumble, picked it up, ran it back 25, 30 yards, had an interception. He's been playing really, really consistent for us. Chris Holmes, senior running back, he's been over 100 yards the past 2 weeks. His blocking has been even better. And, his work ethic day in, day out, he sets a really good example for our young guys. Josh Payne, left tackle, never says a word, works his tail off. He's another one that could probably come up here every week. Quinn Copeland is a senior who's been better and better. He's a linebacker for us. He got player of the week versus Chesney 2 weeks ago. Probably had his best game of his career. Extremely hard worker. We got one sophomore with us, Darian Bailey. Darian is a running back and a defensive lineman. I mean, this Darian probably developed into our best defensive lineman. And he is extremely strong, extremely fast. And right now he's playing behind a couple of really, really good tailbacks. But he will be the tailback as we continue to go. But these guys make our job so fun. We play Mid Carolina tonight. This is a really big game for us. Most importantly, because it's the only one that we can control tonight. But we can't afford to go into a conference. And these guys know it. We don't really make any bones about it. We got to go get better. Last week we played Chapman, the defending state champion. Number 1 team. They're number 1 team for a reason. They're really, really good. And for a half of football, we went toe-to-toe with them. Executed the game plan, played well, went into halftime, and really thought that we had left a couple opportunities out there. But we went through a little stretch midway through the 3rd quarter, early in the 4th quarter, we had 3 turnovers and a total of 4 offensive plays, and it went from 1 touchdown to 4 really, really fast. And that's the team that they are. So, Mid Carolina night, it's a real big game for us. All you guys, thank you for what you do for us. Mr. Boyd, thank you. Thank you for saying kind words about me. I appreciate it very much. Y'all, thank y'all.
Appreciate that, Coach. Now, when we invited Allie Rogers Fauntleroy to come speak, I asked her to send me a bio. And if you look in the program, you'll see the bio. I don't think I need to stand here and read the bio to you. Most everybody in this room knows Allie. They know where she came from, they know where she's going, what she stands for. She was Miss South Carolina in 2012. She was first runner-up in Miss America. We're glad to have her in the Eastern Standard Time now. She spent some time in Arizona. But without further ado, Allie Rogers Fauntleroy.
Well, thank y'all first so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, whether I was in Clemson or Dallas or Phoenix or now Raleigh. Lawrence County is and will always be home to me. So really, thank y'all for inviting me to be here. I went back and forth on what I would talk about today. When I was in South Carolina, I did this all day, every day for a year, but I wasn't exactly in a lineup with this slate of guys y'all have speaking at the Touchdown Club. I hate to break it to you, but I've never coached a D1 football team, never officiated a college game, never served as an NFL team president, never even ran a route. But Cam Newton, I can talk routes, just for the record. So I hope to mix it up a little bit for y'all. I think it's safe to say I'll be the only one this season up here at Gills. And I think this season I'm the only 20-something. But as a 25, almost 26-year-old, I'm not sure how much life advice I'm authorized to give. That said, I am unbelievably grateful for what I've been able to learn so far in my almost 26 years. Not gonna lie, I've worked my butt off, but I'll never forget that I didn't get here on my own. Really great career opportunities, as I know you all are very well aware, don't just magically hand themselves to the best resume or highest GPA. I sometimes joke that I wish I had not put as much effort into my grades as I did. Players of the Week, first off, congratulations. Second, let me reiterate that I joke, I wish I had not cared as much about grades. But in the sports industry especially, getting your foot in the door is absolutely about who you know. Making connections and building relationships and networking and just being brave enough to introduce myself to the most important person in the room, those were the most valuable career moves I made over the last 7 years, from Clemson to the playoff to the Fiesta Bowl. Of course, who you know only gets you so far. Oh, and I just really love sports. It is not your golden ticket into the industry. And believe me, there are a lot of people who think they should pursue a career in sports just because they really love sports. Working in sports is literally a dream for so many people. So at times when I've gotten 2 to 3 hours of sleep, 10 consecutive nights during bowl week, when my friends are making much bigger bucks in secure corporate jobs, or when I don't get to spend Christmas or Thanksgiving with my family, I remind myself that there are people my age who would work for free to be in my shoes. So believe me when I say how thankful I am to have had the opportunities I've had. What's my end-all, be-all career goal and dream job? Well, I thought it was the next Erin Andrews or Sam Ponder. Then it was the Senior Associate Athletic Director of Communications for Clemson University Athletics. Then it was the Vice President of Public Relations at ESPN. These are all titles I've thought at one time or another, or that I've been told will one day be mine. Those were my end-all, be-all career goals, and I knew without a doubt that I was on my way to capturing one of those titles. You all have to have felt the but coming in all of this prophecy, and I'll get to it. And for the groundbreaking life advice, well, I thought I'd tell y'all a little bit about my college football journey, and with a few significant moments along the way, and how in trying to determine what my end-all, be-all really is, I've learned that life is a lot bigger than football. My love for sports was instilled in me as a little girl. I had an all-time softball coach, golf instructor, dad, who is insanely athletic. He still may hold a couple records at Clinton High School in BC. My mom was the quintessential sports mom, but not a soccer mom because I just really don't like soccer. She actually knows football and would destroy any of y'all's fantasy leagues. I had a big brother and way too many boy cousins. I didn't really have a choice but to love sports. And speaking of a lot of boy cousins, I have a door prize, but I've already picked who it's going to because my Uncle Philip is expecting a granddaughter next February, and I'll officially be not the only girl in the family. I started playing softball when I was in kindergarten, golf in elementary school. I was a Lady Raider year-round once my middle school days started, and I spent almost every day until I graduated from LDHS, either on the ball field with the infamous Coach Butch Clark or at Lakeside. Then along came the big college decision, and I applied to one school, Clemson University. And that is where I found my true love, football. I found my other true love, my husband, at a Clemson Carolina baseball game, thanks to my cousin Clark. My husband is a Gamecock, and that is his only flaw. I went to my first Clemson game when I was 4 weeks old, and growing up, I spent most Saturdays at Clemson games. So it was a dream come true to get the opportunity to work for Coach Sweeney, and I know I'm partial, but an outstanding football program. Starting my freshman year, though, football officially became work. I had more than just a vested interest as a fan. I split my time Monday to Friday between class and the football office. Each week I made my way from Memorial Stadium to the SO, to Bowmanville, to the locker room, filming pieces for my Death Valley live show. On game day, I traded in tailgating for pregame work, then stayed at the West End Zone until postgame highlight reels and stand-ups were recorded. My summers consisted of hot, sweaty days on the practice fields for youth and high school camps, then gearing up for another season, and from 2010 through 2013, there were especially high hopes for a better season than the last. I got to watch the games close up with excitement, but also with anxiety and tension because I felt like my family was now out on that field. But let's be honest, if anything has to be work, what better work than for Clemson football? I missed my college graduation ceremony for the most sought-after internship in college athletics. It was the college football playoff that really opened my eyes to this amazingly vast and competitive world, and being a female in the sports industry certainly adds on an extra layer of complexity. The playoff is where I met the big names in the game. ESPN executives, conference commissioners, high-profile and high-maintenance head coaches. I'll give you a hint at who that top one is. His first name, last name starts with an S and rhymes with Raven. I learned quickly, though, as long as you don't act like an unimportant 20-something, they won't treat you like one. And you'll have the chance to prove you know what you're talking about and you know what you're doing. So that's what I did. And the next time I ran into those big names, most of them remembered my name. The sports industry is a grind. The behind-the-scenes entities that make up the nuts and bolts of college athletics are the team support staff, conference staff, stadium and event staff, production teams, operations crews, governing bodies, bowl staff. And I learned quickly, those are the folks that make the sports world go round. But if you've never been part of the operations of a highly visible game broadcast or a major press conference or big bowl league, it's difficult to even comprehend what those moving parts are. So when people ask, what exactly do you do? I often struggled explaining what my day consisted of during a bowl week or on game day. So I'm not going to try today, just to say that. Nonetheless, the more I was exposed to and the more I learned, the more blown away I was at how extensive this job is. And as I learned, I grew, and defining moments took place left and right. There were some not so fun moments, or let's call them professional growing pains. When I was at the playoff in Dallas, our staff worked and observed the regular season games that the Cotton Bowl hosted at AT&T Stadium. They were essentially really great dress rehearsals for us, since that stadium was to be the site of the first national championship in the playoff era, which we were hosting. So September 27th, 2014, we spent our day at the Cowboys Stadium for the Arkansas A&M game. Meanwhile, Deshaun, who was then like a little brother to me, was making his first start for Clemson. When I saw on Twitter that he had scored his first career touchdown, I found a bathroom and I cried. It was in that moment that I realized that in my pursuit of big things in big places, I mean, we were in Jerry World, it doesn't get bigger than that. That pursuit meant I was going to miss Clemson football games for basically the first time in my life. I was going to miss my family. That game, Deshaun went to throw 435 yards and broke the school record with 6 touchdowns. Little did I know, Deshaun's time at Clemson would lead the Tigers to the desert 2 years in a row, and I conveniently was living in the desert those 2 years. It's still wild to me how Clemson landed in just the right places at just the right times. And that takes us to 2015, after my first season with the Fiesta Bowl. Another not so fun moment was the rather unfortunate national championship, and for some reason, I was tasked with facilitating the post-game press conference. After a really tough, heart-wrenching loss, I had a few minutes to compose myself before Coach Sweeney and Deshaun arrived backstage to deliver their first runner-up sentiments. When Deshaun walked up to me backstage, it was apparently obvious I had been emotional. And he proceeded to give me a big hug and said, "It's okay, Allie, I love you." And he walked on the stage as composed and positive as could be, and I fled to the service hall and broke down again until Coach Saban arrived. He did not offer me a hug. There were some super cool moments I'll never forget. The first one in spring of 2013 when I was asked to be the on-field reporter for Clemson Pro Day. Side note, it was only ESPN3, but it was one of the coolest experiences ever. Another side note, as cool as it was, I learned soon thereafter that the behind-the-scenes nuts and bolts jobs were a little more my thing, and I didn't have to wear near as much makeup. The second one, when College Game Day was in town for the Clemson-Georgia game my senior year, I was asked when they arrived on Thursday to cart Kirk Herbstreit and Brent Musburger over to the practice field. All of these ESPN talent travel with posses, so when one of their buddies, Bill, struck up a conversation with me at practice, I didn't think much of it. Afterward, he invited me to dinner with the game day crew at Pixie and Bill's. I called my boss, Thad, to tell him and I guess ask his permission, and he asked who it was that invited me. I told him, Bill somebody. Bill Bonnell, he said? Yeah, that's it. Thad said, you know he's the producer of College Game Day, and he's won Emmys for producing Super Bowls and Olympics. I accepted that invite, to say the least, and I sat between Desmond Howard and Brent Musburger and listened to them talk football for 3 hours, and I was on cloud nine. The third one, when I broke Urban Meyer's tough exterior at a Fiesta Bowl press conference last year after Coach Sweeney, with a proud dad arm around my shoulder, told him that having a former intern of his on the inside was going to give them that extra edge over the Buckeyes. Afterward, Coach Meyer even smiled and nudged me leaving and said, "All right, Clemson girl, take it easy on us." I like to think that shutout the next day was because I really got his head. The fourth one was when I got a Twitter follow from the official ESPN college football account, #List. Then the best moment of all, bawling my eyes out again. I know y'all think I just cry for my job, but happy tears this time on the field at Raymond James Stadium after Deshaun hit Renfro for the game-winning touchdown with 6 seconds left on the clock. The Tigers were national champions, and this moment goes down in the top 3 best moments of my life. And yes, my wedding day goes above those top 3, and before that, Natty. And going into my 2nd season at the Fiesta Bowl, while I was still communications manager, our communications director, my boss, left the bowl for another job opportunity. No big deal. I was looking forward to learning and working under a new director, but a new director was never hired. And as we moved through the season, it became clear that I would be taking on those responsibilities. Mind you, the communications directors at the 5 other New Year's Six bowls are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Oh, and the Fiesta Bowl was a semifinal site that year. Good luck, Allie. No big deal, no pressure. While terrified of failure, I knew this was my time to shine. So I stepped up my game, got to work, and remembered, you don't act like an unimportant 20-something, you won't be treated like one. I was given that chance to prove I knew what I was talking about, and I knew what I was doing, and my hard work didn't go unnoticed. But on this big stage, that's when the tough, palpable, oh wow realizations took place. When the effects of consecutive 20-hour work days and the pressures of taking on the responsibilities I didn't feel equipped for finally started to take a hard toll on my physical health. When a spiteful female colleague, 10 years my senior, posed as a member of the press on a post-bowl week media survey and made completely false and slanderous claims against my professional reputation and character. When it became abundantly obvious why having a family is extremely rare and just not easy in this industry. Then, when Wills and I spent about half an hour together on our first Christmas day as husband and wife. Those were the key moments for me that kind of hit me brick by brick, further solidifying this nagging feeling I had that maybe life is bigger than football. Is the grass greener on the other side? I'll see. I'm now the Associate Manager of Marketing Communications for the fitness division at M+, a sportswear and fitness company in Raleigh. We were excited to move back to the East Coast about 3 months ago after Wills got a job opportunity in Raleigh. So at M+, I'm still touching sports, sort of, but I sit at a desk Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. I get federal holidays off. We're talking Thanksgiving and Christmas. Will I get bored? Probably. But I've had a lifetime of insanely rare experiences packed into 7 short years. And after those fast-paced, high-profile, exhilarating, and tiring days, boring sounds kind of nice. Don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware that the real world, regardless of what kind of job you have, is tough. But when you step back and take a hard look at why you do what you do, why you stay in a certain job or field, why you sacrifice happiness for things far more important, far less important, your priorities begin to fall into place. And who's to say I won't wake up one day and say, I'm ready to get back in the game? For right now, though, I'm loving being within driving distance of my family and my friends in my hometown. I'm loving nagging Wills about having a baby or 2 or 4. I'm loving just being a football fan. I'm not throwing away anything or giving up on a dream. I'm finally realizing that my dream is not my job. Life is bigger than football. Family is more important than any career goal. And you can take it from me, I've had almost 26 whole years to figure that out.
Thank you very much, Allie. We really appreciate you being here. Just so you know, you coming to speak at Touchdown Club has been about 3 years in the works. You just happened to finally be close enough that we could get you here. We do appreciate that. All right, we've got some door prizes.